How are we doing this morning? Awesome. I love the energy in the room. You know what's funny is every single net meeting message that I've given, I've been the first person on the agenda in the morning. Now Dave tells me it's to fill seats, but I think it's to keep me from having too much fun the night before. I'm catching on to you guys. If anybody had too much fun last night, by the way, I commend you for being here. You were a champion. Anyways, I'm really excited to give this message today. I love speaking at NET. This is one of the most influential conferences that I think Cutco does and has made such a huge impact on my business over the years. So I love the opportunity to speak and give back. And I'm excited to see what all of you guys do coming out of this conference to utilize all this information to serve the people around you, serve your clients and your show teams on a higher level and just crush it. So we've got a lot to touch on today. They asked me to talk about new customers, so I'm going to talk to you guys about my approach to working with new customers. I'm excited to talk about this topic because if you talk to any top booth rep across the country, they'll tell you that new customers are literally the backbone of what we do at the booth. This topic is something that takes you guys from a decent booth rep to an absolutely phenomenal booth rep. And the way I like to look at it is a set a day keeps the money problems away, right? So, and all corny rhymes aside, working with new customers can be one of your most rewarding, one of your most exciting, and your most profitable parts of the entire business. So what I want to talk about today are the 3 ways to identify new customers. How many? 3 ways to identify new customers, and in my mind, the 4 keys to selling more to new customers. And I'll maybe add in a bonus one. If I don't get to that, come see me at my round table. So, why are new customers important, guys? I think what happens a lot of the time in people's minds is we don't get as excited about new customers sometimes because we know that it takes a little bit more time, energy, and work to close these people. Now, I understand it's really easy to get those buy 3, get ones all day with past customers, and those do add up. But you're shooting yourself in the foot if you're working with these people all day long. Nothing good ever comes easy, and the best and most loyal customers take that extra energy at times. I want you guys to write this down. Qualified new customers are always worth the extra time. Qualified new customers are always worth the extra time. That doesn't mean we don't have walk-up sets, of course, but ask yourself too, when someone comes up interested in Cutco already, how much are you selling that person? How good are you at turning that easy homemaker into an ultimate, that easy ultimate into a kitchen? These are your biggest CPO opportunities a lot of the time, and we all know a set or 2 completely change the day. By the way, how many people in this room can think back to a slower event that they worked where they had one set completely change their weekend? Anybody? Think about that for a second. If that makes such a huge difference for a whole weekend, why aren't we focused on this every single day? Remember that past customers pay the booth rent, but new customers is where your real profitability comes from. So, new customers are also my favorite to work with because I get to be their first experience with Cutco. It's the best opportunity to set the tone for customers, how they buy, what they're excited about, and where their Cutco vision and opportunity is at, right? And what your business relationship looks like going forward. So who here has ever run into a past customer that just seems like they're trained to buy Cutco all wrong? They're like, they buy a piece at a time, they're not open-minded, they're used to being sold to, maybe they don't enjoy the buying process as much. You get to be the professional that works with the new customer that sets the bar for these new customers when they continue to come up to the booth. So you get to create what you want with those people, which is very, very exciting. So let's talk about identifying new customers. This is one of the biggest shifts that I've made in my business lately is identifying new customers I'm working with by paying close attention to what they're saying. There's 3 types of new customers that you need to identify at the booth, and that's needing, looking, and wanting customers. I learned a lot of this framework from the great Curtis Jacques. Do we have any Curtis fans in the room? Dude is an absolute magician. And I've taken this framework and adapted it into my own business. So now, who here has ever had a new customer come up to the booth and they're like, oh my gosh, I need a good set of knives. And you go through the whole demonstration, you're all excited, you finally get to the end and they're like, cool, thanks, we're gonna wait. We weren't really looking at getting a set of knives today. And you're like, bro, like what the hell just happened, right? You're like, you came up wanting good knives or needing good knives. This would happen to me all the time when I was new because I wouldn't qualify, and now I can see the writing on the wall. So let me ask y'all a question. Who here can think of something right now that they really need to do? Something they really need to do. Or maybe have been needing to do for a little while. Anything come to mind? So I want you to think about your thoughts and your emotions around this task for a minute. Usually the reason you need to do it, or it's still on the to-do list, is it's not exciting for you, right? The thing we need, we always put off, but we always find a way to get what we want. So the question becomes, how do you reframe this customer's mindset to where it becomes a want? So a question I always ask is, cool, just curious, how long have you been needing a good set of knives? Wow, that's a long time. It's funny because we seem to put off the things that we need because all we need is food, water, and shelter. But we always find a way to get the things that we want. Now, just out of curiosity, I'll ask you guys, were you maybe wanting to upgrade your knife set at home? Because I'd love to give you the quick 60 seconds on us, right? And tell people, this is not a need booth, this is a want booth. This is not a need booth, this is a want booth. A lot of the time, these people will qualify themselves out if they're not interested today, and I'll just move on. But sometimes these people will be like, yeah, we do want to upgrade. And you just handle the objection, and they'll be more open-minded. It's important when working with these people to build urgency as well, because if they don't have urgency, they're not going to want it right now. So once you've shifted them to a wanting customer, you need to make sure they want it now and not later, right? So one important thing to pick up on here for you guys to write down is the energy and like the vibrations of the body language of these people is they're going to be interested but hesitant. They're going to be interested but hesitant. So the big idea with these people though is don't be fooled, dive in, qualify, ask good questions, and if possible, reframe their mindset so they're open to getting some Cutco from you at the booth today. Now, the second set of people are the people who are looking for something. So these people are interesting because they're usually trying to find something specific. It's your job to help them find that, get excited about it, and buy it. A lot of the time, these people approach your booth because they need something, or they need help. Nobody's helped them before, or nobody's answered their question yet. So ask these people that are looking for something, if we found you exactly what you were looking for, would you maybe be open to getting it here today? These people need a tie down and need some excitement behind what they actually want. I tend to be kind of quick with these people because a lot of the time they find what they're looking for, they buy it, they're in and out. But there's a few key ways to get these guys into packages. So whatever they're looking for, let them know that it comes in a set or an upgrade. What's nice is those cleavers you're looking for, Mrs. Jones, comes as part of our new upgrade program. What's great is that paring knife you're looking for comes in all of our basic and complete sets. You guys can do this with everything. Now, when it comes to upselling these people, I just start showing stuff and I gauge their openness and their reaction to it. So, again, try and tie it into what they were already looking for. I always ask people, I know you're looking for blank today. Just curious, have you ever considered the idea of blank? So the body language and vibrations you'll pick up on with these people is they're on a mission, right? You ever see the people who are just looking at everything on the booth? These are looking people, right? And again, you want to take these people from looking for something to wanting more. From looking for something to wanting more. Now let's talk about people who want something. These are my favorite people to work with and will usually buy the most. Now remember that people pull the trigger on buying something based on emotion, not logic, although both are important. If people really want something, they will find a way to get it. And a lot of these people will pay whatever it costs as well. Some of you call these people value shoppers, right? Now, as soon as you have someone say they want something, it's game on. Just give me your credit card. Simple as that. Now, I'll tell you guys a story. I was working a street fair with Alan Hernandez, big street fair in Tucson, and this customer came up wanting a 4-inch paring knife. So, past customer sold her a 4-inch paring knife. Her husband starts looking around at the booth and is like, tell me about these pocket knives. So, sell him on a couple pocket knives. He goes, cool, I want 2 of those. He didn't ask the price, and he said, I want 2 of those. The gears are turning in my head. I'm like, okay, game time. So showing upgrade, steak knives, garden tool bag. I took that 4-inch paring knife to a $2,100 line 1 upgrade. But the key here is I noticed he said, I want, and I knew I had to go in and show them more stuff. So remember with these people, they're exactly where you want them. And you want to keep them excited. Don't get them thinking about budget or cost too much. Just build massive value in the packages. So you want to think big for these people. Let them know what's possible. The other thing that's important to mention is take your time with your wanting customers. Take your time. They're not the type of people you get them in, get them out. These are the type of people you don't overqualify. They're going to be your biggest orders a lot of the time. And if you just slow down and you paint the picture for these people, they're going to buy big. For example, people who come up and they say they've been wanting Cutco for a while. We all know these are the easiest sets and package deals, right? For new customers like that, I say, hey, sounds like I don't really need to sell you on the quality of the products. Is it cool if I just show you the main sets that we have on sale and you can just tell me what you think works best for your kitchen? That's also my main transition line in the showing sets for new customers as well. So if you haven't picked up on this yet, by the way, one of the most important things that you guys can do at the booth is use the word want over and over and over and over again. You're going to want this. All of our customers want this. If I were you, I would want to do this. Want, want, want. People get what they want, so give the people what they want. By the way, the body language and vibrations you'll pick up with these people is they're engaged, they're excited, and they're open. So the main focus you want to have with new customers is keeping the entire approach focused around what they want. The whole point of this, guys, is I want you all to be thinking about these things when you meet new customers and identify them quickly and effectively. Are they needing something? Are they looking for something? Or are they wanting something? Are they hesitant? Are they on a mission? Are they excited? Are they with you the whole time you're working with them? Or is there something off? You guys want to pay close attention. So those are my 3 keys to identifying new customers. So I'll go into my 4 keys to selling more to new customers that has really helped me out these last few years. So number 1 is rapport. How I like to work with new customers at the booth, if you guys watch me, is I'm very rapport and connection based. Very rapport and connection based. By the way, who here is guilty of steamrolling their customers at times? I have been too, and you know what I'm talking about. You talk and pitch, and you move the process along like a bull in a china shop. Finally, you get to the end, and you're like, so what do you think? Do you want to get it? Or you throw an order form in their hand, which you should never do, and they're like, well, yeah, we're going to think about it, right? And sure, you can get Cutco in people's hands this way, but if you want to run a business versus being a salesperson, you want to be rapport-based and have a good connection with these people. This is also going to make your experience at the booth just easier and more fun the entire time. I prefer when my customers are really processing what I'm saying and getting more and more excited the closer we get to getting them a set, right? So I like to consistently be asking questions and checking in with where people are at. What's nice about this is it allows you to handle objections at the end so much faster as well. I always watch Calvin Lopez handle the walk around and think about an objection just by smiling and be like, well, nobody comes back. And I'm just like, and they buy. I'm like, how? I'll talk about this in a little bit, but Calvin is a master at building rapport with people. And my main objection with creating rapport with the customer is I want to create a space in an environment where they feel really comfortable being honest and open with me about where they are at any time during the process. Guys, one of the hardest parts of our job is getting your customers to just be completely honest with you and have honest communication and dialogue with you. The deeper connection you have and the better rapport you have, it's the best way to overcome that. So ask yourself, guys, how can you be shifting the energy from a you versus them to a you and them? From a you versus them to you and them. So I think we're going to have some time here, so I'll dive into all 5 of my points, give you guys a little bonus. Number 2 here is the process, all right? So who here has ever been taught don't ask for an order until you're pretty confident they're going to say yes? Has anybody heard that before? So it's a less salesy way to go about things, and it makes things more conversational and smooth, right? So I never understood, by the way, why Seth Kinzer talks so much to his customers until I learned he was building value and rapport and diving in until they were just ready to give him the credit card. So I started asking myself, I'm like, why are we doing this with the entire new customer approach? We've all been guilty of explaining the guarantee before people are actually listening. We've all been guilty of introducing ourselves to a customer before they actually care. And we've all gone into showing sets before someone is even close to open to looking at options, right? Now, I understand everyone here has a different demo, a new customer script, but what I want you to think about is this. Before you move on to the next section of your approach, where do you want your customers to be at? How do you want them feeling? And what do you want them asking? For me, I know I'm doing a really good job when the customer is excited and curiously asking me questions. Sometimes they move the process along. Questions like, so what exactly is your warranty? So all we have to do is send these back to get sharpened. And a lot of people, so are they dishwasher safe? As soon as I get that question, I know they're interested. And my favorite of all time is, so what comes in your different sets? Again, just give me your credit card. It's over. So we could all be more aware of where our customers are at, and we are all good enough at this to know how to get people excited about the process of selling Cutco. But think about that more. Now, number 3, awareness of pain points. Who here has ever heard that people will pay more for painkillers than they will for vitamins? Our pharmaceutical industry proves that time and time again. So that's why one of the things I want to touch on is identifying and capitalizing on pain points. The analogy that I was given a few years ago is you guys want to look at yourself like a doctor who's checking for a broken bone. Now, you apply pressure in different areas of where the bone is broken, and you say, where does it hurt? Right? Where does it hurt? Exactly. So your job is to throw out consistent struggles for people, ask about their struggles, and figure out how you can treat their injury for them, right? So most of this comes down to just being aware of what your customers are pointing out. For example, when you ask someone, what do they have at home for knives? And they say, it's an old set, it's all rusted out on me. What's most likely their pain point? Probably the dishwasher or their knives rusting out, right? If a customer says, I'm not sure what we got, but we have to sharpen the things all the time, what's probably their pain point? Probably the knives going dull. Pay attention to this stuff. So when a customer gets really excited about them being dishwasher safe, it's great to mention that we're high quality, but we're low maintenance. Because Ms. Jones, everybody loves high quality, but they hate the maintenance that comes along with it. We're high quality, low maintenance, which makes us the best value for the average everyday household, right? Like, oh yeah, that makes sense. So know what's important for people, guys, because the more you tie pain and pleasure into the interaction, they're going to be moved to make a decision. People will always do more to avoid pain, by the way, than they will to gain pleasure. That's a note to write down. People will always do more to avoid pain than they will to gain pleasure. So ask yourself, what makes this person tick? What makes this person tick? Number 4. Listening. This is so important, guys. The common misconception in sales in general is we think that the more we talk, the better the sales process is going. The opposite is actually true, where the more your customer is asking questions and opening up to you about their problem and their situation, the better. So start treating everything that comes out of your customer's mouth like golden information. I was always taught, be quick to listen and slow to speak. Quick to listen, slow to speak. It hurts me to think about how many sales I've lost over the years because I've interrupted someone and I didn't let them talk. If people don't feel heard or understood, they're not going to buy. Now, this doesn't mean that you let your customer steamroll you, by the way. It needs to be a dialogue. But see if you can get the other person talking more and don't interrupt them. Part of your job, by the way, as a salesperson is to be an information gatherer. You are an information gatherer. The more helpful information you can obtain from a customer, the quicker and more effectively you can solve their problem. By the way, letting them go on a tangent or two might seem like a waste of your time, but if you're really listening to what they're saying and the story that they're telling you, it's going to tell you a lot about them, also how they communicate, and also how they buy, right? So you can actually be faster this way because you don't need to waste your breath talking about something that they don't care about and something that's not going to help you move the process along. So you want to encourage your customers to be open and honest with you every step of the way. Little stuff like, hey, I really appreciate you sharing that with me. I'm really glad you mentioned that, by the way, because blah, blah, blah. Use positive affirmation to encourage your customers to continue to talk. Every single thing my customer says, I'm looking for how I can utilize that information to help them get Cutco later. So you want to get really good at taking mental notes, really good at taking mental notes with your customers throughout the approach. So the question to ask yourself here is, what is this person saying? Why are they saying it? How are they saying it? And how can I utilize that to better serve them and help them get Cutco? Again, what is this person saying? Why are they saying it? How are they saying it? And how can I utilize this to further help them get Cutco? Now, the last thing I'll talk about here, number 5, is handling objections in closing. So handling objections in closing is probably actually the biggest shift that I've made recently with how I work with new customers. One of the keys to closing new customers is continuing to build value until they're pretty much at a yes. I call it the Seth Kinzer approach. It's where you talk to a customer until you're literally blue in the face and they are overflowing with value until their only option on the table is to give you their credit card. I think a lot of reps in Cutco, by the way, are very guilty of trying to close too fast. I know they are. The customer might have 2 or 3 holdups about making a decision by the end of the process, and we want to weed those out rather than try and close. So the other great way to stall and continue to build more value, by the way, is getting customer testimonials. Now, guys, I've really shifted my focus from selling all the past customers that come up to the booth to utilizing them to sell instead. It's really easy to get distracted at a busy event by past customers coming up and asking a question or wanting a knife or two. And I will nicely and respectfully turn these customers away in front of my new customer so they can see I'm passing up sales to help them. Something like, hey, really appreciate the testimonial. You're awesome. High five. Your commission check is going to come in the mail in a couple of weeks, by the way. And hey, I'm just helping these folks out with a set of Cutco right now. I'd love to help you get your replacement table knife ordered up though. So come on back in a bit. I promise I'll get you the past customer discount. And they're like, oh, cool. So your customer that you're working with, the new customer, is either going to be like, oh, no, we're definitely not buying today. And you can pivot to the past customer. By the way, if this happens, do a better job of qualifying. But most of the time, they're going to be thinking, wow, this guy is really serious about getting me a set of knives. So one thing I've been doing to close more effectively is not making a big deal out of the price either. So when I've identified what it is they want to price on, I will just keep building value and talking to them and talking about options or building rapport. And then I pull my deal sheet out, I put it on the table for them to see the price themselves, and the whole time I'm just talking and watching their reaction to the price. I rarely actually say the price anymore. I just show it to them on the sheet, and I kind of watch how they interpret it, right? Body language. It makes it less of a big deal and keeps the conversation around options, value, and what they want rather than budget. Options, value, and what they want. Also, a silly but money line that I've been using for my new customers, when they ask about the price, I just say, yeah, it's like $1.2 million. We just have you take out another mortgage, but you're going to have them forever. It's totally worth it. People always laugh at that, and there's no better way to diffuse a serious thing like the price than with humor. When you make a joke about it, it's not a big deal, right? And that's where you want. So make the entire process about them getting what they want, right? So if they have an objection, they will share it, which leads me to my next point here. When people inevitably tell me that they want to walk around and think about it, now remember, I've built a ton of rapport with these people, we're vibing, I just take a step back and I go, oh, guys, I know what that means. I'm probably never going to see you again. And they're always like, oh, no, like we're definitely going to come back. I tell them, guys, I've been doing this for like 11 years. If you come back, I will literally be shocked. And I always follow this up with a question, by the way. By the way, just so we're on the same page, if we were looking at a set today, would this be exactly what you would want, or would we want to be looking at something larger or smaller? If they say it's exactly what they want, it's the price, and you guys know how to handle that. And if they say it's something smaller, drop down, right? The whole point of this is skipping all the bull crap. So if you have really good rapport with the customer, it makes them uncomfortable to not be honest with you or feel like they wasted your time. They will want to work together with you because you have that connection. You've been so helpful with them. So also make sure when this happens, you take a step back and you give them some space. because they expect you as a salesperson to pounce as soon as you get that objection, right? And when you don't want them feeling any pressure, you take a step back, and it's really interesting. You'll notice it breaks their psychological pattern, and when you step back, they actually lean in. Now, I usually throw out a Hail Mary deal before they take off, but some people are just inevitably going to walk, right? Happens to everybody. It's unbelievable, since I've been using that approach, how many people I actually have come back. And a lot of them come back just to be like, I told you we would be back. I told you, you didn't believe me. And now they feel like they've won, right? And guess what? A lot of the time, they're getting closed on a set of Cutco. So I also win. Win-win situation there. So there's a principle in how to win friends and influence people called when all else fails, throw down a challenge. When all else fails, throw down a challenge. So to wrap this up for you guys, I want to give you a few questions to ponder and to give you guys a few challenges of my own to help you get better with this. So number one, I want you guys to write these down. Number one, ask yourself, where's my biggest opportunity when it comes to identifying new customers? Where's my biggest opportunity when it comes to identifying new customers? Write down one or two things. By the way, can you guys see how identifying new customers will make your life a lot easier at the booth and help you with efficiency? It's huge. So where could you be better with that? Number two, ask yourself, where in my script or my process of selling to new customers could I make things flow better? Where in my script or process of working with new customers could I make things flow better? Right? Write down one or two ideas. Where do you feel like sometimes maybe you get stuck with a new customer? And how can you smooth that transition out, right? And lastly, number three is ask yourself, what are one or two things you want to implement with new customers moving forward to increase your averages? What are one or two things you want to implement with new customers moving forward to increase your averages? Write them down. So who here is excited to go out and implement some of these concepts in their next opportunity at the booth? Now, guys, I've been giving messages for 10 years now, and everybody tells me they're going to implement what I told them. I'll be shocked if you do. Yeah, don't be one of those people. No, I'm just kidding. Seriously, though, guys, I'm super excited to see how we continue to make new customers a really important part of our businesses. I'm excited to see how we continue to serve new customers on a higher level, and just the caliber of professionals that we create, learning to work with people in more masterful ways. So thank you, guys. God bless. I appreciate your time, and let's have a killer 2023.